The following podcast is brought to you by the Johners Podcasting Network, found exclusively at WrestlingWithJohners.com.
Is Vince McMahon about to kill NXT forever? Welcome to the latest episode of The Chop Shop, brought to you by Bucker Bomb Entertainment and in association with the Johners Podcasting Network. Introducing first, hailing from Lunar United Kingdom, the one Walshmeister himself, Luke Anthony Walsh. Pleased to have you. Introducing next, she is the mean Queen of Syracuse, New York City, Sarah Misick, and Orlando Ortega in the Jesus as well. How are we, one and all? The new NXT could be the final NXT.
Don't say that.
Looks like something on the Nickelodeon network. That new logo.
It's being rebooted.
I mean, the new NXT logo in itself is a colourful jizz, shall we say? But the main headlines at the moment coming out of the newly formed NXT is that the new producers for NXT will be none other than Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard. WWE president kind of confirmed that NXT will receive a complete reboot with a new set, new outlook, and looking to go back to its developmental roots. Brian Alvarez on Wrestling Observer Live said that the NXT will be produced by the two of them. So, like, anything can change. Anything is possible. I talked a while ago about how we're going to have a new NXT. It's going to be like the old NXT. I've heard from several people that now that I've got when they go back to live shows, it's going to be a Vince McMahon, Bruce Pritchard production. So it's just going to be, it's dead. It is dead.
I just can that man rest? Like, Jesus, he wants to take everything. Vince McMahon just needs to he has your billions. Let other people help you to get multi-billions. Sorry. Go ahead, Sarah. All right.
My question is if this NXT fails, does horrible, how smug is the smirk of Triple H going to be when he says, couldn't do it, could you?
No, because it's Vince and Bruce. So who you think Vince is going to blame? Bruce Pritchard. That's how it goes. He blames the other person. That's why he blamed Triple H because of the whole success of AEW and them failing in the ratings. So, yeah. So come on now. Yeah, he blames somebody else. He doesn't blame himself.
That's true.
I mean, it's how the unholy matrimony works. You've got the stalwart that is Vince McMahon, who tears up scripts left, right, and center, and then you've got Bruce Pritchard, who, let's not forget, used to be Brother Love 30 years ago. So, it's the way that these two have worked over the years and, the highs and lows of it all. And then now, they're still, first and foremost, how they're still producing wrestling on a weekly basis is beyond me. But how they're now going to take on NXT in the same way that they oversee Raw and SmackDown each week it's just going to feel the same. It's just going to be, another 2 hours of Raw and or SmackDown booking.
No, it's going to be an additional 5 hours. Come on now. It's 5 hours on USA Network and then 2 hours on Fox. Bet you they'll try to get a deal for FS1, their sister network for Fox, and get a third additional hour. Yeah. Plus they even have Peacock with all their shows there. Somebody has to their shareholders have to say something to Vince McMahon. It's just come on now. You're overworking, dude. Chillax. I don't know. It's just
What else is to be said about the madman that is Vince McMahon?
He is a madman. But like, okay, the only interesting thing is that he does have some giants there. The only thing now is just like if they can work. So that's the thing, and it's depending on what kind of work that Vince wants for them to do. So that's the question that we have to see. Like these guys that a lot of them don't have wrestling experience with. That's probably why they wanted them, because it's like a fresh person that doesn't know nothing about the business. They don't know the ins and outs, so they could teach them, and kind of mold them, or in other words, brainwash them in a way to like, be in the WWE kind of style.
I mean, okay, let's break down NXT as to sort of who they've got for the new age. I mean, they've got Johnny Gargano, they've got Tommaso Ciampa, they've got Dexter Lumis, they've got Ilya Dragunov as the UK champion, they've got Indy Hartwell involved as well. They've got all the players that they need to be able to keep the stories running and keep us invested. And it could all go wrong in a minute. We've seen with Adam Cole and how the Undisputed Era has now boiled away, possibly to AEW. Is that what can you do with NXT that keeps us going? And especially when you look at Gargano and Ciampa, who, let's face it, they could have been called up at any point in the last 5 or 6 years. Thankfully, they haven't, and they've been putting on match after match after match that is 5-star worthy. But if they go, they're fucked.
Well, it's also depending on like who's going to be the newer star. Like right now, Luke, what's his name? Luke. He just had a match on NXT. Luke Hudson. Duke. I'm sorry. Is it Duke? The one that faced Kyle O'Reilly.
We'll have the name for next week.
Yeah. Sorry if I didn't know your name. Sorry. But like they have him. Of course, they had the people that were in the NXT breakout tournament. So a lot of them will be seeing them again. They also do have Samoa Joe. So Samoa Joe, like he even said in interviews about like what he's looking for in a talent. So maybe he'd be like in good relations with Vince. I don't know. We'll see.
The thing is with Samoa Joe, and I think you'll agree with me this, Sarah. They'll be tempted to bring him back to main roster. Like, let's not beat around the bush. Like, if he's still on NXT in 12 months' time, I'll be amazed.
I'll be surprised if he's there post WrestleMania next year.
That's true. And if he's like showing like good work ethic, maybe Vince will probably bring him up. To me, it's like if they're trying to revamp it, I'm surprised that a lot of these talents that you just mentioned didn't go to like Raw or SmackDown, because they could probably help Raw and SmackDown, and if you want to make NXT like really fresh, you could just use new talent, like the people from the breakout tournament, and some names that, they don't have like the experience that they'll need it. So I don't know.
Let me give you two names, and I want both of your opinions whether they'll go to NXT first. Gabe Stevenson, is he NXT?
I think so, just to kind of maybe hone his craft a little bit. I think it'd be more like a carrying cross kind of thing, where he's going to be there for 3-4 months, and then he's moved up to Raw or SmackDown.
Yeah, I think like if he shows like progression, like let's just say like he has like a Kurt Angle kind of year, like he could easily have a great year in NXT and then move to Raw or SmackDown. But also, I don't know if Vince is trying to get his brother, which is Gable Stevenson,
By the way, Orlando, the guy's name you're looking for is Duke Hudson.
Thank you. Okay, I knew it was that. Thank you, Sarah. Sorry, Duke Hudson. Sorry about that. Anyways, but yeah, like so some of the new recruits that you were talking about, yeah. So him, I don't know like how his training is going to be. I don't know if he's going to pick it up like that, or he needs some time to finesse some of his moveset, So
I mean, it took Kurt Angle 4 years to go from Olympian to pro wrestler, and obviously he made the transition quicker than most people would even dream of. But certainly, having an Olympic gold medal does help, so long as they don't book him in the same Olympic style like Chad Gable and American Alpha back in the day, then give us something new. Then there's something to work with. But the other main name that jumped out at me, the name of the newest recruits to the WWE Performance Center, is one Joseph Fatu, the third Uso.
Now that one I can see him easily moving to SmackDown because of his family, because Roman and the Usos, which is their brothers, so he could easily move to SmackDown. Like he'll probably just do a little tune up to get the WWE style, and then they could probably move him up to SmackDown if they wanted to.
I mean, quote me if I'm wrong, sir. That Joseph Fatu is one of MLW and New Japan, I believe.
No. That's Jacob.
It's Jacob Fatu.
Of course, there's four of them. Of course, there's too many Fatus.
Yeah, no. There's not four of them. There's a lot of them. Okay.
Rikishi was a busy man.
Yeah, he got great grandkids probably coming soon. We'll probably see.
All from the man with that big fat ass. Yeah.
Hey, he made his money. He made his money during the Attitude Era. Let him be. Like even the Usos said in the speech, they said that ass helped him go through college. Okay.
That ass made him the head of the table down there.
There you go.
Damn it! There's your plot twist. It's Rikishi against Roman Reigns. We won.
Oh.
But yeah, certainly Joseph Fatu being the third Uso to add it into the mix, and certainly continuing the Anuahi bloodline. I mean, to see an Anuahi with NXT Gold to be added to the bloodline would certainly add an extra dynamic to it. But it's whether they will fast track him to the main roster and just throw him into the story.
Yeah, I mean, like you could see like a few people that were like went straight to the main roster. Like look at Dominic Mysterio. Like I think maybe his son didn't want him to go to. I think Ray didn't want his son to go to NXT. Probably he wanted him on the road with him to learn on the main roster. So it benefited for him. Like he's getting some. At least he's trying to finesse some of his moveset and getting himself used to the crowd as well as some of the wrestlers. Because like of course he's still new.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Of course, so the other Performance Center recruits. So it's Bobby Stevenson, the brother of Gabe Stevenson, wrestled at University of Minnesota, the same university as Brock Lesnar and Shelton Benjamin. So they sure do know how to produce a wrestler in that university. Ben Buchanan, a wrestling champion from Alabama, son of Bull Buchanan, which do
you see some of the bloodlines? But the names that you're saying though, like in their backgrounds, it's amateur wrestling, which is kind of smart for them to do. Though it's like one, they don't know about professional wrestling; they know about wrestling in general, and two, because I think Vince wants that next Kurt Angle, Brock Lesnar, because that was what his success was back in when it was like after the Attitude Era, the Ruthless Aggression Era, because remember, Kurt Angle and Brock Lesnar were the first amateur-style wrestlers to main event a pay-per-view in WrestleMania. So
This is true. We've got Brady Booker, who is coming from college football, 6'3", 245. That's he's a
big
linebacker, whatever that is.
He's a big son bitch.
He's big. He is big. Jessica Wadniko is a gymnast and a CrossFit athlete, which is, again, a genuine interest in tattoos. And, of course, Joseph Fatu and Joshua Dawkins, who's a trainee of one Devon Dudley, and nephew of the NBA legend Darryl Dawkins. So that's the latest batch that, as we've seen the releases over the last couple of months, this is the new faces that will be in the Performance Center. But it's just a question of when do you pull the trigger and how do you pull the trigger? Because obviously the Performance Center recruits are used as extras. They're used as nobodies. But what they will do with them, I think it'll be interesting to watch in the next 6 months.
Yeah, I agree. We'll see. Like after next week, they're gonna go back to live taping. So we'll see how NXT is gonna look. I mean, I'm happy at least they're going to brighten it up because technically the stage and stuff is very dark. They needed some lights. I'm sorry. Like, I didn't like it that it was so dark in that arena.
Maybe they'll turn the whole set into an art class and then go full on like the whole colorful.
You guys familiar with that Wii game, the Nintendo game Splatoon?
Yeah.
Oh
yes,
God,
Totally Splatoon. Like
the shade is real tonight.
You're looking at like create a ring on like 2K20, but like a 6-year-old is taking control. That's what we need for NXT.
Oh
NXT
Lord.
Splatoon.
Oh my God.
And they wonder what went wrong in the Wednesday Night Wars. Let's leave it at that. Let's move on to one of the other main headlines of the week in WWE. Nia Jax, possibly the greatest female shoot wrestler of all time.
I mean, who's going to beat her size if it's a shoot?
I still want that Raquel Gonzalez Nia Jax feud because I want big girl versus big girl facing at each other. You know, I want a proper like one-on-one feud with those 2.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, like Nia just keeps on getting roasted for working so bad. I don't know.
I mean, is it bad or is it just simply strong? Of course, in a match against Charlotte Flair and Raw this week, a few spots went wrong. Nia Jax took it in her own hands, and Charlotte didn't know what to do. And then obviously that led to the ending of Nia Jax going over clean. But I mean, copy, paste, Control C, Control V. She is the most lethal female wrestler, I guess, of the modern era, in that she has injured a whole host of talent over the years. That there's too many to name, but surely there's room for her to come out and be the strong woman that she is.
Yeah, I don't know. Like to me, it's just like I it was unfortunate that Nia never worked with Awesome Kong. Like Awesome Kong just retired. What a wonderful career she's ever had. Unfortunately, her WWE career didn't span out because the the events that happened. Like if she would have stayed, I felt like maybe Awesome Kong would have probably helped out Nia Jax because from one big girl to another big girl, they help each other out so that way, they can finesse and make sure they could work with the little people. Because I know Nia could work well with people. Like she works well with Alexa Bliss because that's her best friend. I mean, I haven't heard any stories about her injuring her. I don't know if maybe she has some hatred towards the 4 horsewomen.
I mean, you say Alexa Bliss. Rewind to WrestleMania 34, that Raw Women's Title match where it was about bullying. It was really, really silly. But having Nia Jax become Raw Women's Champion and the moment that she got to have on that show showed that she can do it. We're willing to get behind her if the story is right and she can do all the pieces fit together. And unfortunately, ever since, she has just been second fiddle either with Enzo Amore and of course now with Reginald and now obviously with Shayna Baszler as well. It's just they don't know how
Yeah.
to use it.
Yeah, I just don't like the joke that they always have to put like the big girl with like the skinny small guy. Like I don't like that joke. I think they need to stop that. And like it doesn't help with like I mean Nia's a beautiful woman. Like she could have any man that she wants. It's just unfortunate. It's the society that we live in, unfortunately. Because like it's just like a beautiful woman. Unfortunately, she's a big girl. Let's just say how it is. She is a big girl, so it's just like it's always going to be a problem with her when it comes to her work.
She even got a run out in the men's Royal Rumble. Was it last year or the year before that as well? Like that moment was just incredible. Like they can do so much more with Nia Jax.
I mean, they wanted to have her face like Dean Ambrose before he left, but supposedly that was like a rumored like live event match. But whatever.
Sarah, if you had a run of the pencil, what would you do?
I'm sorry, what was that?
If you had a run of the pencil within WWE and you were miraculously as part of WWE's Mad Creative, what would you do with Nia Jax?
Ooh, on the spot here. I think you got to give her the monster heel run that she could do. She's the biggest, woman on that roster, except for maybe Raquel. let her have that, Braun Strowman, Andre the Giant kind of run where she's just destroying everybody.
It's certainly interesting. And certainly, we're going to talk about the rewritten Raw in just a second. But the door is now open for her to go after Charlotte Flair come Extreme Rules in about 3 or 4 weeks' time. And
Brawl for all. Let's book it. Extreme Rules. Brawl for all.
Never again. Don't make me go like this, bro. Don't make me talk like Vince Russo, bro. Do it, bro. I'll put you on a pole match, bro.
But you know what? The memes were funny though. I have to say, everybody was talking about this match. So the ladies did something right. I think they probably did that on purpose. So a lot of people were intrigued because they looked like they were about to fight. But I mean, they're friends, so this is probably a miscue, and then there's just I don't know. So
yeah, that's the rumor according to PW Insider. There was miscommunication during the match. Things got a little heated. By the end of the match, everything was squared away. No heat backstage.
Which is remarkable when bear in mind she was against Charlotte Flair of all people. But this is the whole psychology of it all. Even with moments like that, and even how can we not talk about "ow, my hole"? We're still talking about her. We're still talking about Nia Jax in the women's division, and that's what us as media people want to be doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course. I mean, she does bring intrigue, regardless. I mean, even though, I don't like the whole, bad publicity is good publicity, but it's just, I don't. It's just, to me, it's just I'd rather have them have good publicity than just bad publicity. That's my opinion.
Yeah, it's an interesting one in the wrestling world, that's certainly for sure. But of course, last night's Raw was rewritten over and over again to the point that Vince McMahon lost his shit. Apparently, the scripts were being rewritten up to 6 p.m. Eastern, in one of the hardest and longest days of creative time. I mean, one of the main losers, I guess, from the rewriting of the script is Alexa Bliss, who was meant to be a part of the show and then missed out. I mean, we've discussed before about where do they go with Alexa Bliss now that the Fiend is no longer part of the company. But do you reckon she could fall victim even further to creative?
No, I don't think so. They like her. It's just Vince. I don't know what's up with his mind. They have 3 advertised matches that we're supposed to do, and they decided not to do them. None of them. I was like, oh, they're getting their shit together. And then all of a sudden, when you get to Raw, I was like, what the fuck happened with all the matches? Excuse my language, but it's Jesus. But at least at least 70 to 75% of Raw was not rematches. There were some new rematches, some setups and stuff. So it was interesting.
Yeah, it certainly did leave a lot to the imagination. I mean, and talk more about the creative outcry. Vince McMahon was extremely unhappy about the original plans for the show and tore up the script and the initial rewrite. He began requesting new ideas, some of which were good and some of which were bad, but rejected everything that was pitched to him. He then decreed the plans for the show himself, and then there was no direction decided for the show. And it was the loudest and angriest they've ever seen Vince McMahon on the day of a show. I mean, how bad must it be to be working on WWE creative as just a writer, let alone?
Well, that's every year though. That's almost what, a decade and a half now that they started using writers. It's every single damn time. It's just they always do a rewrite, or they always have to change something up, or change a match, or redo a match, or something. It's just so weird. I wouldn't want to be a creative person. I mean, granted, it's just if I want to be in creative, I'll be like, you stay away from me. Let me create what I need to do with your wrestlers, okay? I'd be to the Vince, but of course he's not going to do that.
Yeah, it's a madder world. But I think considering what else we saw on Monday Night Raw, we've got Damian Priest had a great showing against Drew McIntyre and Bobby Lashley.
That was an incredible match. I'm happy that Drew put over Damian. I was just like, oh, so he took the pin. I was like, okay. So at least like there's something like they're building Damien for something. I don't know if they want to give him the belt. Maybe have him feud for a few months with Bobby. I mean, we'll see.
It's intriguing where they could take Damien Priest, so long as they don't ruin him even further than Bad Bunny. But I don't think that.
Oh no! Come on. No, it was more Miz and Morrison. Don't blame it on Bad Bunny.
Yeah, true. Hop,
Come
hop,
on,
ho,
man.
ho, drip, drip. Yeah, that's a sad thing in itself. And of course, we've got RK Bro, which I think both you, I think you'll agree with this, becoming the best bit of Raw each week now.
Do you guys see them more as a comedy act, or do you see more serious?
Well, let's break down that point, shall we? I mean, we've seen in the last 12 to 18 months, and we've discussed this on the podcast before, where they've taken great tag teams like the Street Profits, the Viking Raiders, War Experience, War Raiders, whatever they want to be, and even Rey and Dominic Mysterio as well, and the New Day, is that they are serious to the point that they are great in ring and put on great matches and great tag team matches, but they know how to put the comedy element, which can either make or break them. I mean, we saw in the greatest match ever between the Viking Raiders and the Street Profits, where the ninjas got involved, and that thing with the referee and all sorts in between. That's just bollocks. It's just bollocks, considering that we knew that the tag teams could go and carry on. But what we're seeing in Orton and Riddle is that we still almost saw the dissension between the two. The way that they've been put together is still amazes me that they've still carried on for this long. But they're going with it. They're working with it, and as long as they're still together by January, it's a success.
Mm-hmm.
You want them to feud on WrestleMania?
Well, it depends how. I mean, it's WWE long-term booking. We've just talked about booking for one night to the next. Do they have the balls to keep them together for as long as possible? I don't know.
I don't. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I think the problem with Vince is just like he wants comedy that is like where it's like they're comedic, but they can be serious. Like only there's only a few people that could do that. Like Kurt Angle, even though that he could play a great idiot, I love him when he's a vicious like machine. Like when he's like suplexing everybody like no tomorrow. That like because I think that's what Vince wants to see in like some of his wrestlers. They are just very silly and childish, but they can be mean and very, aggressive when it comes to in-ring work. So I think he needs to realize there's some people that could do comedy and there's some people that cannot. Like for me,
I think Vince is trying to replicate the New Day model essentially, because we sort of talked about them as being the greatest. Well, arguably the greatest tag team in modern WWE history, with what they've achieved, and obviously the appeal that they've had over the years, and the amount that Big E, Kofi, and Xavier Woods puts into the team each and every week, that they're committed to never breaking up ever. I think Vince is ideally looking to replicate that somehow, and I think it will take a lot for RK Bro to get to that point, but you never know in this man.
Well, I mean, Riddle's already there. Like he's that doofus type of character. Like but when he works. Like he's amazing as a worker. Like to me, he reminds me a bit of like kind of like a mixture of like RVD and Kurt Angle, where they're kind of doofus, but they have great ring work. So I think that's probably what Vince wants. Is it's like he wants a doofus that can make people laugh, and cheer up the crowd. But then when when they have to be like ready in the ring, they could work. Like to me, I feel like Riddle will soon be world champion, probably by the next year or two. Right now, because his character, like everybody, like he's like very much over right now, thanks to this whole success with with the team and stuff. And like once like Randy decides if he decides to turn on him, and then everybody wants to be on Riddle's side. I mean, I could see it.
That's a loaded point.
I would say depending how the draft goes and who ends up where, would depend on what part of 2022 he might end up champion.
Yeah,
if he ends
that's
up on a
true.
stacked roster, might not happen, or he'll just be a transitional champion.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. It's depending on who's gonna like challenge for the tag titles. I mean, is it gonna be AJ and Omos again? I mean, is it somebody else? I don't know.
I think there's about one of about 6 names you could say is up for world title. I mean, Riddle being one of them. Keith Lee is always one of them. Sheamus has always got potential.
Right now, Damian Priest has been built really well, and it seems like it's
They're certainly at a point where whatever the plans they decide to go with for the draft, they'll have their work on their plate. But it's ultimately down to creative to come up with the stories that Vince McMahon is happy with, because only he has the final say.
Yeah, and I don't know who's gonna go where, but this draft I'm having a fear with, because like there's gonna be a lot of people that could benefit from it, and there's some that could really like, I don't know. Like I can't.
We all know Eva Marie's going to benefit, and it's going to be Eva Marie's going to be champion. We all know that's going to happen.
Oh, come on now. We were saying that she was going to be tag champions. Come on.
So I did hear one interesting comparison. I'm bringing it up to you guys, see what you think. Someone compared Omos as being the new version of the Great Khali.
Yes, I read this during the week.
Well, at least he has a bit of more personality, and right now I don't know how his promo work is right now. I mean, like at least he speaks well. I mean, Great Khali, he can't speak. I mean, no offense to him. I mean, he's a great giant, but
yeah, but see, the Great Khali came in and went straight, and I mean straight for the Undertaker. That's the thing. So at least what they've done with Omos is that they turned him from a ninja to whatever he is with AJ. And
wait, no, they turned him into a ninja, and to a bouncer for Shane McMahon, to almost a lackey to AJ Styles, and then he became tag team champ. So let's get the whole story straight of almost his career. So I mean,
yet to take a bump as well. Yet to really show his full wrestling credential.
But that's another thing, is it's like I was waiting for him versus Braun Strowman, because at least like Braun Strowman is almost his height. But now that he's released, like who they have, somebody that's around his height that he could face. I mean, he's in the PC probably right now. They're training him, so I mean, I
think that maybe they're looking to sort of replicate a Big John Studd moment where they finally have him slammed and finally hit the mat, and that's how you tell that story. So we'll see.
Okay, yeah, or just depending on who it will be. So I mean, who's the stronger guy there? There's Bobby Lashley. There's Roman Reigns. I mean, who else can you see that could slam him?
Brock Lesnar.
R-Truth. So let's move away from Monday Night Raw and let's talk about Smackdown. And well, quite frankly, NBC and the USA Network are both fuming as to how stacked the Friday Night brand is compared to theirs. Obviously, with now Brock Lesnar and SmackDown Women's Champion Becky Lynch is on there. NBC and USA going, well, where's our talent? And certainly with the draft coming out, and we've been talking about it, is that do you think that Fox are going to want to give away these assets, or do you think maybe it's for somebody like Roman Reigns to move across?
Well, okay, so the report is that Fox was actually upset with WWE because they couldn't lock CM Punk to come back to their company.
Wait,
so
CM
because
who?
like
CM who?
Well, because like he had a good relationship with Fox when he was in WWE backstage. So
yeah,
but of course, it was never going to happen. But he was going to come back to WWE. So this was like a peace offering to Fox. Be like, look, we're sorry. Here's Brock and Becky for you. I mean, they gave him a 2-for-1 special. So I don't know.
I'm still genuinely surprised that they've actually put Brock Lesnar on SmackDown and they've actually decided, because obviously his home has been on Raw.
I mean, technically, he can show up whenever he wants to. So technically, he could show up just on the pay-per-views. He could just show up maybe like in a like he will probably show up in Madison Square Garden. No doubt about that. So because they need to sell out Madison Square Garden. Come on.
I mean, sort of coming swiftly on to Brock Lesnar's contract details. I mean, it certainly makes for interesting reading. Of course, now that he's come back ahead of schedule, obviously he was meant to be in for WrestleMania 39 in LA, but they've brought him forward because of other companies. Apparently, his contract is now for about 18 months, so that's about 12 matches. He's apparently going to be booked in for.
Well, they said 8 matches, so I mean, 8 to 12. Yeah, I could see that. Okay, so I could see which matches are going to be Roman. That'll be one and done. Give us Keith Lee. Give us Bobby Lashley. Give us Omos. Give us Riddle. Give us. Let's see who else is there. Big E. Maybe at least give him Big E. I want to see Brock versus Big E. One more time with AJ Styles because I feel like he works really well with AJ Styles. Just give us one more time with AJ Styles. And what's one last match that's probably maybe
Jinder Mahal. Give us the match that Survivor Series 2017 never gave us.
Oh. You want him to have just a 5-second match.
We were 2 weeks away from Jinder Mahal seriously taking on Brock Lesnar in a champion versus champion match. We were robbed, I tell you. We were robbed.
I can't remember the name, but the really tall 7'2" guy that was on the Superstar Spectacular or Spectacle for the India show.
Oh no, he got released.
Oh,
yeah, sorry.
Well,
he was one of the. He was the, yeah. I know. I wanted to see that match too. Like I was expecting big things about him too, but they released him. But I think because he's still in India. So I think they couldn't work out something where he can come back to the States because I know that he was. I saw because I follow him on Instagram. He was doing some movies and stuff because he's really popular over there. So,
well, the other factor, of course, and I don't know whether you both have heard of this little place. There's a little country in the middle that WWE is somehow loving and their favorite country in the world. A lot of people are saying that. Of course, Brock will be one of their star attractions, as always. He is in Saudi shows. I mean, who do you put with him there? I still think this is a very unpopular opinion. They'll give us Goldberg against Brock Lesnar one more time because that's money.
Oh Lord. Yeah, actually, no. I mean,
I can see it, but I hope not.
Yeah, I don't see it either. No. I mean, but okay. Also, it's depending on maybe if Brock's had to say like who he wants to face. That's another thing. So we don't know. Maybe he said something like, "I want to face this person." Like he got really intrigued when he was like facing Keith Lee in the Royal Rumble in 2020. So I mean, he probably. I don't know if maybe he saw him again. So maybe he wants to still face him. So I'm just waiting for that.
As the biggest Undertaker fan in the world, I'd say I'd just want him to face the Undertaker one more time so that Undertaker can get that clean win over him that he never got. But that would involve killing the Undertaker.
No.
If we hadn't been released, I think Brock versus Bronson Reed would have been a really good match.
Yeah. I just it's I don't know. It's just it's so I don't know which matches they're wanting to have him have. And who he wants to who they want him to work with. I mean, he could work with Karrion Kross. I mean, I want to see that. Maybe that would help. That would help his character a lot. I'm just saying.
Brock Lesnar against Karrion Kwang. Yeah, that would be. that
You're not gonna let that go, aren't you?
Not be Kwang.
You're not gonna let that go, huh?
No. He still looks silly. He's I don't know why they had to this is the sad reality of NXT now. Is that you could be NXT champion and you can have all the gimmick in the world and ready to be in the main roster, and they'll still make you look like a complete idiot on Monday Night Raw and lose to Jeff Hardy.
Yep. Yeah. I don't.
I mean, I read in a report ages ago that he wanted to work with R-Truth a bit more, which I think would be a lot of fun. But that
Well,
would
of
be,
course, because like R-Truth is funny as hell. Like, I mean, he laughed a lot. He said so.
yeah. I mean, it was one of the best Raw moments of 2020 when
I know, right?
he caught Paul Heyman off guard. But yeah, I think.
Oh my god, I
All
was like so
depends.
surprised that Paul Heyman was able to keep a straight face with that segment, and then like because Brock was losing it though.
Yeah.
Speaking of next year at Money in the Bank, can we get Brock Party 2.0?
It was like, come on now, that was like a great thing. Like it's just
It's like, what is he doing? He's having fun.
of course, of course,
With the hoodie pulled out.
of course, and then he's like, and then he was doing some moves. I was like impressed. I was like, hey.
It was terrible to watch, but inside there was something inside.
Oh come on now, you laughed a little bit. I'd be like, what is he doing? What is this shit?
It all comes down to what Brock Lesnar we're going to get, and of course he wasn't on Friday Night SmackDown. We don't know when he'll be next be on, but we'll see. We'll see what happens next, and we'll see what the Brocktopus will produce next, especially if whether Paul Heyman will be involved in that story or not, it remains to be seen. But from the one major men's star to the other, and that's the interesting tale of Bianca Belair facing off against Becky Lynch. Now, of course, Sasha Banks still isn't back from whatever leave she's on. We don't know too much information about what's wrong with her. At the moment, we're getting Bianca versus Becky, possibly, for Extreme Rules. But is this bad timing? Is it ultimately bad timing for Becky Lynch and Bianca to be feuding?
Well, because I don't know like when exactly Sasha will be cleared. So because I know that has to be they have to continue on that feud because everybody wants a rematch with them too. So I mean, I could easily see her maybe like this week or next week. She causes Bianca the match, and then they have a match at Extreme Rules. But Bianca's not going to let go of the fact that that she didn't have a proper like one-on-one match with Becky Lynch, and then like of course Becky Lynch is going to dodge her and stuff. So
I think certainly if we had 20 minutes of Bianca against Becky, I think none of us would have been moaning about it all. I think we would be saying match of the night, but it's just booking really and time management to an extent as well. But what we'll see of Sasha Banks and what is wrong with her remains to be seen. But one person that is now on SmackDown is Naomi. She's finally been moved over.
They're doing the Naomi deserves better kind of trend. Like they're actually doing it as a storyline. I just want her to part of the family. Put her in the family. Maybe she'll cause.
You're not going to stop mentioning it until she is.
Yeah. Yes, I am not going to stop mentioning it. And I haven't. Okay, they could go two ways with it. Either she is part of the family and she goes heel, or she does a rift of the family and then her husband is kicked out of the family. That's how I see it.
As long as you're not talking about Sable, Orlando, that's the main thing. So long as you're not talking about Sable.
I still feel she's gonna come back. Watch.
No, never. Yeah. But yeah, there's so many names to choose from, as we saw in that segment on Friday Night SmackDown, where they were queuing up to get a piece of Becky, and they're in a position where I think their back is against the wall, and they maybe would have had to have sorted out one way or another had we got Sasha against Bianca too at SummerSlam. But I think coming on to our final piece, it all boils down to whether they do Queen of the Ring at Saudi Arabia. They're adding more licenses and trademarks at the moment, pointing in that direction. So I guess it's too early to say at the moment, but if I had to give the crown to you, Sarah and Orlando, who would you make King and Queen of the Ring?
I would want Liv Morgan because she had a good good return, and the crowd was popping for her, and she had an amazing match with her and Bianca. We just had like 5-6 minutes of them together, and they had great chemistry. So I say give Liv Morgan the win.
And for the men's King of the Ring,
I would say give it to Xavier Woods because he's been asking for it for so damn long. It's interesting because a lot of the other podcasters that I'm listening to, they're just like saying, Xavier Woods is going on a singles run. It looks like he's getting himself ready for the tournament. So it's like, I could see it, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'll agree with you on the King of the Ring. Definitely Xavier Woods. He's been pumping at that for about 2 years now. As far as Queen of the Ring, there's only really one or maybe two answers, I think. The obvious one maybe Charlotte Flair.
I'm gonna disqualify you from saying Charlotte Flair. Bear in mind she's currently champion.
The other one to me is a surprise, and I would say Natalya.
Oh, you want her to have that gimmick of Queen of Hearts, like literally?
Honestly, I didn't even think of it that way. I did not even think of it that way. That's cool.
Oh God.
I was just thinking that she's done a lot for the company. She's getting ready to retire within the next year or two. It'd be a nice gesture.
Yeah. I mean, she's done what she could, like she's or at least helped out like so much that she can for the past, what is it, almost a decade and a half, at least, and that's the longest you could say about a woman being in WWE because there hasn't been a woman that has not been there that long.
Outside of Stephanie, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, well, Stephanie, she worked in the backstage and stuff, so I don't know if I want to count her. But no, I get what you mean. Yeah.
It's yeah. I mean, I'm sort of picturing it now. I mean, like you can just hear her recite the Queen of Hearts speech a la Owen Hart of 1994. You could hear her turning heel and really trying to embody the Hart dynasty, and that's her claim back to the main event picture, and her claiming what has been rightfully hers all along. And again, are WWE brave enough to add, I guess, add another cog in what's already a very, very, very high talented pool of main event stars in the women's division?
Yeah.
We'll have to wait and see what happens in the desert. That is certainly for sure. But that's your lots for this week's episode of The Chop Shop. My thanks, of course, to the Mean Queen herself, Anna Orlando. Please like, comment, subscribe. Please check out our friends at the Jonas Network and go say hello to them because we are very, very happy to be part of them. And we'll see what happens in the future.
And we're now associated with Amazon Podcast.
That's right. This will officially be the first episode to appear under our name for Amazon Podcasting, part of Audible. Check us out there if you're a member.
Already, my signing has been paying off, Sarah. So, I'd like to take 100% of the credit for that. And this is my official heel turn. And all the credit is mine. We'll see you next week for the next episode of The Chop Shop, brought to you by Buckerbomb Entertainment.
Bye.